Hi, I'm Tim Nesmith, Ship Superintendent and Education Outreach Coordinator at the USS KIDD.
Hello, my name is Elijah Otto. I'm one of the duty officers here at the USS KIDD.
Elijah, what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to be talking about who the ship is named for. So in this particular case, we're going to be talking about Rear Admiral Isaac C. Kidd. Fun fact about U.S. Navy destroyers is that all destroyers are named after Navy personnel, Marine Corps personnel, and civilian benefactors.
And nowadays, Coast Guard personnel as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So today we're going to learn a little bit about the man behind the name. So follow along with us.
Rear Admiral Isaac Campbell Kidd Sr. was born in a small house at 3059 Mabel Court in Cleveland, Ohio, on March 26, 1884, to parents Isaac Kidd and Jemima Campbell Kidd. He was the oldest of four children, which included brother Archibald Nicholson Kidd, sister Minnie Rebecca Kidd Chapelka, and brother Alexander Campbell Kidd. While sharing his father's first name, Isaac's middle name originated from his mother's maiden name. His father was an immigrant from Ireland who had come to the United States at age 15 in 1864. The younger Isaac, seen here as an infant in his mother's arms, attended elementary school at the Detroit School in Cleveland and later graduated from West High School in 1902. He was recommended for an appointment to the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, by Ohio Senator Mark Hanna. Kidd attended the Naval Academy for 4 years, graduating as part of the class of 1906. His classmates at this time gave him a nickname, Cap, after the infamous Scottish-born sea captain William Kidd, who reputedly turned pirate while on a clandestine pirate hunting cruise between 1696 and 1699. He also excelled in the sport of boxing while at Annapolis. Graduating with the rank of passed midshipman, Isaac received his first assignment at sea, serving aboard the armored cruiser USS Columbia, C-12. The highlight of his year aboard Columbia was the Panama expedition of 1906, when the cruiser ferried a provisional regiment of Marines to that nation to prevent violence during new elections. One notable figure that Kidd likely crossed paths with on this assignment was then Major John Archer Lejeune, who commanded one of the Marine battalions on the mission. Lejeune would later become Commandant of the Marine Corps, one of 3 Louisiana natives so far to hold that prestigious position. Past Midshipman Kidd next transferred to the battleship New Jersey, BB-16, in 1907, serving aboard her during the round-the-world cruise of the Great White Fleet. Following that milestone assignment, he next served aboard the battleship USS North Dakota, BB-29.
In 1912, then Lieutenant Kidd goes back to the Naval Academy, but this time he goes back as an instructor. It's sort of a tradition within the Naval Academy graduates as well as future ROTC graduates that they go back to the Academy and teach within their field of study. So between 1912 to 1914, Lieutenant Kidd would have taught at the Naval Academy.
Now, little known fact, you attended the Citadel, yes?
I did.
And have you gone back to teach at the Citadel?
No, but if someone is willing to pay for my doctorate, I would absolutely.
So you've got to get out of nonprofit.
Yes.
Don't we all? So Kidd goes back to sea aboard the armored cruiser Pittsburgh at this point, which is cruising up and down the coast, western coast of Mexico. They've got an insurrection going on there. It's causing difficulties with international politics. And you've probably heard of some of that with the landings at Veracruz with the Navy and the Marines. So he's on the Pittsburgh helping their crew with that, and from there in 1915 and 16 he moves over to the armored cruiser San Diego. San Diego and Pittsburgh, by the way, were formerly known as California and Pennsylvania when they were a different class of ship, but they were building more battleships now and they needed those state names. So he's on board the San Diego. He's on the staff of the Pacific Fleet, serving as staff secretary. And from there, he moves over to the battleship New Mexico. He's doing a lot of battleship duty.
Yeah, this is definitely going to build up toward his experiences later in his career.
Right. He's gunnery officer on the New Mexico, which is ironic because his son, years later during World War II, was the gunnery officer aboard the destroyer Putnam. So a little bit of family tradition there that he started. And from the New Mexico, he heads back ashore.
Yeah, and this time he goes back to the Naval Academy, so this is going to be his third stint there. And in 1921 to 1925, he serves as the aide to the superintendent of buildings and grounds. So in that post, he helps supervise the buildings and the structures within the Naval Academy, but he also had to oversee the training ship that the midshipmen used during their summer cruises, and that would have been
a ship that was captured in the Spanish-American War, the Spanish cruiser Reina Mercedes, now the USS Reina Mercedes. And they used her for a little bit, in addition to the training, a little bit of punitive development.
Oh, what was that?
If the midshipmen got busted for misbehavior, they had to be confined to the ship for meals and confined to the ship for sleeping. Of course, they got to leave it for classes. But they slept in the hammocks, drifted back and forth in the hammocks, and ate on that dusty old ship.
Yeah. Leave it to the Navy to be punishment by sending sailors onto a naval vessel.
Yeah, that logic just doesn't track, does it?
No, not really. But so he continues that all the way up until 1925, and in 1925 he returns to sea.
By this point, Isaac had risen to the rank of commander. His return to sea duty saw him become the executive officer, or second in command, of the battleship USS Utah, BB-31. From the Utah, he moved up to a position that every naval midshipman dreams of attaining, command of his own vessel. The vessel in question was the cargo ship USS Vega, AK-17. Not something as glamorous as the battleships he'd been serving on up to this point, but a necessary step in learning the ropes and experiences of command. Following his stint as the commanding officer of Vega, Kidd was made captain of the port at Cristobal on the Atlantic side of the Panama Canal. The canal had only been open for 13 years at this point and was the United States' largest engineering feat to date, so this was a posting that demonstrated significant trust in Isaac's abilities. He served as captain of the port for 3 years, from 1927 to 1930, before receiving another flagstaff assignment, serving on the staff of Fleet Base Force under Admiral Henry H. Howe, embarked aboard the submarine tender USS Argonne, AS-10. A notable figure that he likely encountered from time to time in this assignment was Louisiana native Rear Admiral Jehu Valentine Chase, who served as Commander-in-Chief of the United States Fleet, a title which resulted in the unfortunate acronym SINCUS. From his work with Fleet Base Force, Isaac moved on to an assignment with the Bureau of Navigation in Washington, D.C. While at the Bureau, he would work with then Commander Norman Scott. Scott, like Kidd, would later be one of the few U.S. Navy flag officers killed in World War II. Given that he would later have 3 destroyers named for him, it seems only fitting that Kidd's next assignment involved tin cans, as destroyers are affectionately known by their crews. Now with the rank of captain, he returned to sea as the Commodore of Destroyer Squadron 1. He embarked aboard the Clemson-class 4-pipe destroyer USS Dallas, DD-199, as his flagship, commanding the squadron from there from 1935 to 1936. Dallas and Desron 1 operated in the Pacific during this time, often cruising between San Diego, Honolulu, and Alaska. Isaac's wife and son made their home in Long Beach, California, outside of Los Angeles during this time. From Desron 1, Kidd was next sent to the U.S. Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island. This was a significant milestone and another vote of confidence in Isaac's abilities. Not just anyone goes to the War College. Only the best and brightest attend here to study all questions relating to war, the statesmanship connected with war, or the prevention of war. The Navy obviously expected great things of Captain Isaac Kidd in the future. From the War College, Isaac moved on to his next command, USS Arizona, BB-39. He served as Arizona's captain from September 1938 to March 1940, homeported out of San Pedro, California. From September of 1938 to May of 1939, Kidd worked closely with then Rear Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, who commanded Battleship Division 1, of which Arizona was the flagship. A highlight of his time aboard Arizona, no doubt, was a visit by his son, Isaac Jr., on a break from the classes at the Naval Academy, where he was now a midshipman. From Arizona, Kidd received another flagstaff assignment, this time to serve under Rear Admiral William S. Pye, commander of Battleship Division 4, embarked aboard USS West Virginia, BB-48. He served in this position until January 23, 1941, when he was promoted to flag rank as a Rear Admiral and took command of Battleship Division 1, embarked aboard his former command, USS Arizona. It was in this assignment, with the fleet now homeported in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, where Rear Admiral Kidd is most remembered. When the Japanese attacked the fleet there on December 7, 1941, he rushed to the ship's bridge and discharged his duties as senior officer present afloat, until the ship's forward ammunition magazine and the bridge itself received direct bomb hits, resulting in the loss of his life. For his actions that day, Isaac was awarded the Medal of Honor and the Purple Heart posthumously. When the attack at Pearl Harbor came, Isaac and his mother Inez were having lunch at Annapolis. It wasn't until the next morning that mother and son learned of the elder Kidd's fate. 12 days later, on December 19, 1941, as reported by Time magazine, Midshipman Isaac Campbell Kidd, Jr. marched quietly up the ramp, saluted smartly, grasped his commission as an ensign in the U.S. Navy from Secretary of the Navy Frank Knox. The U.S. Naval Academy and its guests broke into a thunderous cheer, an unprecedented demonstration in honor of Ensign Kidd and his father. On March 25, 1942, the City Council of Long Beach, California, where the Admiral and his family had resided for many years, named a new park, Isaac C. Kidd Park, in honor of the Admiral. The park still exists today as Admiral Kidd Park and had until recently 2 play sets for children designed to resemble 2 of the destroyers that bore his name. On March 29, 1942, the Navy acquired 33 acres of Balboa Park near downtown San Diego, California, creating a new naval training station named Camp Kidd in honor of Rear Admiral Kidd. Camp Kidd served as a Naval Hospital Corps school, providing medical, dental, and hygienic training and support, as well as facilities maintenance and ship service support activities. On February 28, 1943, Rear Admiral Kidd's widow, Mrs. Inez Nellie Gilmore Kidd, christened destroyer DD-661 as USS Kidd, the first ship named in his honor, at Federal Shipbuilding and Drydock Company in Kearney, New Jersey. On May 30, 1962, the USS Arizona Memorial was formally dedicated, located above the sunken wreck of the battleship. A marble wall at the far end of the memorial bears the names of all of her crewmen who were lost on that day of infamy, including that of Rear Admiral Kidd. In 1966, the American Battle Monuments Commission dedicated a memorial at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific, located in the Punchbowl Crater overlooking both Pearl Harbor and the city of Honolulu. A prominent part of the memorial includes the Courts of the Missing, stone panels holding the names of those service members lost or buried at sea or missing in action in the Pacific during World War II in Korea and later Vietnam. Rear Admiral Kidd's name is among those inscribed therein. At least as early as 1968, the Commission Officers Club at Naval Training Center San Diego was named in honor of Rear Admiral Kidd. Still in existence today on Naval Base Point Loma, the Admiral Kidd Catering and Conference Center is a premier event venue. On March 16, 1973, groundbreaking occurred on the Navy's newest Consolidated Data Center, located on 35 acres of what was formerly a U.S. Army Nike missile site in Braunton, Ohio, a suburb of Rear Admiral Kidd's hometown of Cleveland. Named the Rear Admiral Isaac Campbell Kidd Computer Center, it is still in existence today as part of the Defense Contract Management Command. On August 11, 1979, Mrs. Angelique Kidd Smith, the granddaughter of Rear Admiral Kidd, christened the second ship to bear his name, guided missile destroyer USS Kidd DDG 993 at Ingalls Shipbuilding Division of Lytton Industries in Pascagoula, Mississippi. On January 22, 2005, Regina Kidd Walborsh and Mary Corrine Kidd Plumer christened the third ship to bear their grandfather's name, guided missile destroyer USS Kidd DDG 100 at Northrop Grumman Shipyards in Pascagoula, Mississippi. Ultimately, Isaac's legacy is measured by how he is remembered, more so than the things that were named for him. In accounts by many of the survivors of the Arizona, they felt that Kidd was a father figure to many in his crew. He held their respect, being described as fair and a working admiral. He would have little biographical note cards that he stuck to the mirror in his bathroom that kept him appraised of his men's lives, their families, rent, and conditions of their children. One story tells of a young Marine assigned to the admiral who announced that he was getting married. Kidd delayed Arizona's departure for a few days so that the young man could get his bride settled in their new home before leaving. The first person to arrive with a housewarming gift was Admiral Kidd.
All right. And there you have it. There's some information about Rear Admiral Kidd and his ship's namesake. So next time you see a person's name on a ship, kind of think of that relationship for that man or woman with that ship. And don't forget, on March 26th, to wish Admiral Kidd a happy birthday.
Very happy birthday indeed. Thank you for watching Kid Bits. The USS Kidd Veterans Museum is a nonprofit educational organization that receives no regular state or federal funding. To book your next field trip, to book your next overnight stay, or to access our teacher resources, click on the links down below. And remember, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.